What does it mean to be dependable? It means you do what you say you'll do time and time again. That's why the cattlemen of this great nation trust Ritchie to provide fresh water on demand. Ritchie, proud to be a partner to the American cattlemen since 1921.
Hello, I'm Marcus Brix with the CattleFax Closing Bell, brought to you by Ritchie Watering Systems. On Monday, June 6th, the USDA Economic Research Service released meat trade data for the month of April. This was not a supportive report for meat exports, as all major classes of proteins saw month-over-month export declines. U.S. beef exports totaled 189 million pounds in April, 5% lower than a year ago. The lower April export number also brought the year-to-date percent change into negative territory, but just barely at negative 0.4%. April declines come mostly from lower demand out of Hong Kong and Japan, which took in 9.5 and 6.5 million pounds less respectively. U.S. pork exports totaled 430 million pounds in April, an 11% decline from last year. Year-to-date, pork exports are still maintaining an increase, but again only barely at 0.3%. Pork exports to Japan were weaker this April versus a large April surge in 2015, and the year-over-year change was a 40 million pound, 28% decline. Pork exports have benefited this year from better access in China, which accepted nearly double the U.S. pork in April than they did last year, up 27 million pounds. U.S. broiler exports totaled 540 million pounds in April, a 6% decline from last year. Year-to-date, broiler exports are down 4%, and compared to peak exports in 2014, they're lower by 12% year-to-date. Total meat exports across beef, pork, and poultry by tonnage totaled 1.2 billion pounds in April, a 7% decline from April 2015. When expressed in monetary value, from a dollar-for-dollar standpoint, total meat exports were lower by 14% from last year. Although the data seems somewhat bearish out of April, CattleFax forecasts are still optimistic for export growth in 2016. U.S. beef exports are expected to be 4% higher by year-end, with greater need for our beef in Japan and with the U.S. regaining market share in Mexico. Pork exports are expected to be 6% higher, with increase in shipments to China and Hong Kong and better demand in Japan than we saw this April. Even for the relatively weak broiler exports, year-over-year growth should be seen through most of the second half of the year. Through April, total meat exports are down 3%. CattleFax expects that number to be a positive 6% when 2016 draws to a close. Thanks for watching, and remember to visit CattleFax.com to become a member and receive the latest market news and analysis.
The beef business has never been for the faint of heart. The pressures are real, the risks are high, but the opportunities have never been greater. So how do you sort through it all to decide which way to go? For more than 40 years, CattleFax has led the way. Become a member at www.cattlefax.com. We're the time-proven leader in research, analysis, and information, equipped with the industry's most powerful database. Our team is impartial, objective, our vision is global, and our focus is you. CattleFax, the deciding factor.